come to a jazz festival. And so we're trying to build, like, I guess, a jazz or Black American music version of South by Southwest. Sometimes some of the other conferences that we go to can be a little intimidating and almost like a white frat boys club. And so we really were trying to make it very accessible for people of color and for people to see that there are, diverse startups that are being led by minorities and women. And so that was kind of the intent behind it.
What were some of the startups that really impressed you? Because you actually also yourself personally have a background, like you said, that's not necessarily from music. If I remember correctly, you studied in college biostats and things of that nature. So, one, how do you bring that element of what your academic world is and your regular life, work life is, into the Article Festival? So how do you bring that aspect of your life into the festival? And also with startup, what were some of your favorite startups that you have seen over the last couple of years?
As far as like bringing my own flavor, like just my research background to it, it's more like researching other festivals, doing more market research and exit surveys each year to be able to tailor the experience and improve upon it every year. So, that's kind of the researcher hat and the side that I, possess. And then I would say some of the startups that I think are cool on the horizon. I mean, I've seen there were a few people who took part in Black Wall Street, one of which I can't remember the name, but it was kind of a weave or a hair care service where you could order your weave online and it could go straight to the hair salon, which I know that sounds like really like small, but that's kind of a big thing. Like if you don't have to go to the local hair place to buy the hair, and so it's like it was built into an app. And so I think that was one that was very impressive. And some of them I've seen at Black Wall Street Homecoming as well. So.
Yeah, that's definitely one that would catch the eyes of certain people that want to find ways to do things on a easier way and not have to deal with all the headaches of doing it the standard way. So I can definitely see where something like that would be very appealing. In terms of like starting a festival and doing it in the Durham and this local community, what were some of the roadblocks that you felt that you had to deal when you first started, and how did you deal with those roadblocks in terms of being a fairly new festival in the area?
The biggest thing was just selling people on the concept, because it's very different than, your, I guess, average jazz festival in the South, which is, we're going to do it outside, and it's going to be in one location, and you get to see everybody. Our festival is on the other spectrum of that, which is it's all indoors. You'll hop around from place to place, and you may not see everybody. So it took a minute for people to wrap their minds around that, at least locally. So that was one of the hardest things. And then the other is, and I think this, is always an issue regardless of how long you've been doing a festival, is, just raising enough corporate cash to be able to underwrite the endeavor. Like, those are kind of the biggest challenges that we face so far.
And y'all have actually done a good job with in terms of raising the corporate cash, because a lot of folks, as you said, that's been always a hard issue, and sometimes corporations aren't as apt to fund things, particularly in the creative mode, that they might be some other kinds of projects. So how were you able to frame the argument with them that you were able to get good and successful corporate sponsors? Because y'all have had some very good success with the corporate sponsors.
We were lucky to be a part of the Startup Stampede, which was kind of a, Shark Tank situation where, new companies come in and pitch to win, whether it's VC money or startup cash. So we were a part of that during 2012, and everybody had to pitch the next big idea for Durham, and ours was a big festival. And at the time, there wasn't a festival that was designed the way that ours is. So we got a chance to pitch that, and we didn't know, it was very serendipitous how we got it, because I had no clue that there were, the hotels were coming, and, that Durham was on this trajectory. And so we really just got in, at the right time, the right year, probably, I don't know, maybe a year before all the hotels came online and all of the kind of revitalization happened. So that's how we initially got linked up with American Tobacco, who is an inaugural sponsor and has been a big sponsor of Article Fest. But then they also helped us, figure out how to frame the ask with companies like PNC and Blue Cross, and a lot of it just was, intros from them, but then developing relationships over time.
Have you been surprised, you mentioned it earlier, about and y'all have been part of that growth, about the growth that's happened in Durham? Even on this show, we've talked about some of the growth that's happened and even some of how that's impacted our communities as well as other communities as well. But just you as an individual, because if I remember correctly, you actually, I think at one time you lived downtown. I don't know if you still do, but have you been surprised by the growth that has taken place in the Durham community?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely grown leaps and bounds, if not exponentially, since I've moved down here. I've lived in Durham for 7 or 8 years, but I moved downtown in, 3 or 4 years ago. And since I've moved downtown, the growth has been crazy. It's been really tough to find stuff to even rent. And so, rent prices are up, and, trying to find a place to own is definitely difficult. And so, but on the flip side, there are a lot of restaurants and, new hotels that are now places that are more than just places that you would, go and spend the night. They're actual places you would hang out. So that whole trend from back in the day of going to be seen at hotels and in the hotel lobbies and restaurants, that has definitely come back around.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of growth here in the Durham community that we've been seeing and things of that nature. Now, Article has been basically primarily through the Triangle, because you've done the festival itself in Durham every year, but I understand that there's going to be some growth with the festival that you're looking to move down to Charlotte as well, and then you just mentioned the camp's going to be in Raleigh, and I know Raleigh also provides a lot of the venues for Article Act during the course of the year. But so tell us a little bit about the Charlotte expansion, and if there are any plans to expand the festival to the other markets.
Okay, and this will be my final question because I do have to run.
Right.
But so we are going to do a pilot out in Charlotte with one of our colleagues, Soul Kitchen, just to test the new market and to see if some of the people who have been coming from Charlotte would then, stay home and check out what we've got going on there. So it's a smaller version of what we normally do, but we're just testing it out in partnership with Soul Kitchen.
So you're looking forward to that. Now, one of the things I know you said you had to rush off and get back to doing some other work and other things that you've got on your calendar as well. And like I said, I knew that I might have a limited amount of time with you. But one of the things that we always ask our guests to do every time that we have a guest on the show is to give any parting words of encouragement. And in your case, it might even be encouragement for folks that are thinking about starting their own festival. So any words of encouragement that you would have, either as a business person, an entrepreneur, or just things of that nature that you might be willing to share with folks that are listening?
Yeah, I mean, words of encouragement is just start small. I mean, know, what your vision is, but, start small. Don't try to do it too big, but and keep working your plan. It took us, the scale of the festival that I wanted to do, we finally realized this year. But it took 4 years. to build up to that scale, right? So it takes time. But I would definitely, have. Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you for being a guest on the show today. If you could, prior to, I did tag Mark and Dean, as well as posted a photograph of yourself and a really cool pic of Art of Cool on my Instagram and posted it on Facebook. So just share with your friends the show today. Anyone that you wanted to tune in and listen to the interview that we had today, please encourage them. They can log back on to the Voice of the People to listen to the interview. And we definitely want to thank you for being part of the show today. And we're here every Monday night. So as a host, just wanted to thank you for being a part of the show. Continue with your fabulous work. And please come back to the show as your dates approach closer to your Art of Cool festivals. We would love to have you back with some of the artists, bring them back with you. Love to have a little roundtable discussion. If that's something you can do, please keep in touch with Mark about that.
Okay. Yes, will do.
Definitely would appreciate that.
Thank you for having me on.
All right. You got the dates for 18 yet?
Yes, the last weekend of April. So that should be the 28th through the 30th.
Okay.
And if you have your lineup, please tag us, tag the Voice of the People or Mark or Dean or Ty. Tag us with your lineup so we could be a part of it. And like I said, I do encourage you, with any of the artists, we would love to have you guys back and hype up your show.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
All right.
For sure. Definitely appreciate you being on, Cicely. Just and like I said, I know you got to rush off, and then we're going to go back into our round table and everything. But was there a favorite artist of yours personally that you really enjoyed and you're just so glad that you got booked? And is there one that you are still jonesing for?
There's actually two that I'm so glad we got them when we did. One is Kamasi Washington, and the other one is Anderson .Paak. Like those two, we got at a very, young age in their career, and now they are just like, if we try to get them now, they're Coachella, Bonnaroo, Pitchfork status, Essence status. So we're Lollapalooza status, So we're very, very lucky to have gotten them very early on in their cares. And that's kind of our calling card. That's our calling card, right? So we try to get people, we try to be kind of cutting edge and get people before they blow up.
Yeah, that's what's up. Well, you're going to be the peas to our carrots to allow us to continue to blow up. So we want to thank you for having your voice and being the voice of the people today. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Definitely appreciate it.
All right, y'all have a good evening.
All right,
you too, sweetheart. Have a blessed night.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. So that was Cicely Mitchell, am I right?
You are correct.
We got Dean Geronimo. He's the birthday boy today.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Turn up. Have a drink for me. I saw the iced tea on your Facebook page. Is that regular iced tea or is that some like iced tea from Long Island?
That was a special iced tea from D.C. You know what I mean? I'm down here and went to Georgia Brown's to give me something to eat, and now I'm down here in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. So, the sixth man gets around every now and then. It's like the third week that I've been on the road. 3 weeks ago, I was coming from South Carolina, and I was down here visiting my family further down in Virginia last week. So, next week, I'm in Jersey next week. I'm just going to sit at home and do nothing. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's what's up. Take a little vacay or staycay at the home front. That's what's up. It feels good to be back with you guys.
We've been looking for you, man.
I've been over here in the island.
We were about to put you on the milk card.
Yeah, I've been surviving off of coconuts and pineapples, but I'm doing all right. I'm all right.
I mean, coconuts and pineapples